Okay, welcome back, Twitch and YouTube. We're picking up roughly where we left off in Act 9 on the Hollow Bomb build. Hollow Bomb technique build. And as it stands, I don't think we need to even really wait. We can start rolling through the act. So we got resist sorted out. I think we've got planned to sort out resist post-Katava, so we don't even need to stop when we hit Katava. Kill Katava. The build is very high damage. Basically clears anything that is a normal mob. You don't even need to stop to think about it. We probably want a little bit of more life for Katava. We got what we need to finish up Act 9. We can probably pick up what we need to finish up Act 10 before we get to Act 10. There isn't much to say about the build. The build is just smooth and effective. It's almost a one-button build most of the time. Gotta manage the health, which I suppose the life flask is another button. Frenzy of Onslaught I very infrequently use, I only use it for single target damage, because it is a little bit higher single target damage than Cyclone, which is a third button. And then spacebar, I've got dash, that's spacebar. And that's really all the skills this build's using at the moment. There probably is a way to add, well, and then we've got the preservations. Right, so we've got Arctic armor for freeze immunity. And purity of elements off of one of our items for the resist. In the long run, it will probably be worth transitioning away from purity of elements to something else. But for the moment, purity of elements is providing us our resist cap. Oh wait, those are gloves that are completely worthless. None of the builds I'm using use normal gloves. Same thing. Actually, it's unique. I'll put unique on up because maybe I have space the unique thing for it. So the last map we were in, as far as Act 9 is concerned, is basically just a travel node. So you basically just run through it to get to next node. This one has 2 quest objectives in, or 1 quest objective. But this is mainly a fork node, so you've got to do the 1 quest in here, which will grant you access to getting into later zones that you need to get into. And you can fork to go do the boss. The optional boss. It's optional. Oh, he's taking so long to kill because he's got a turn charge on hit. That's what's happening, man. Like, he's feeling fairly resistant, and I've got a lot of damage, so why is he very resistant? The answer is because we've got like 5 endurance charges to do some physical damage, 20%. Yeah, that one's not being fun to fight. This is one of the first zones where we run into June here. Will offer us various side quests in the Axe. It's only ever one quest per zone, as far as betrayal. Once you get into maps, it goes up to 3. It's a little denser in maps. So it might be a little bit less common in maps. So the waypoint, we are going to be teleporting a bit around here. Now we're looking, so we need to get the quest center for that, which means we need to find the optional objective, or optional quest in here. Which is usually to the east of the waypoint. Must be west of the waypoint. Oh yeah, I passed it. It's paying more attention to the map, but I've already done it. This is what we're looking for. This will trigger a fight. The fight's not that hard. Just multiple waves of guys before a moderately strong guy comes in. Which in our case is easy to deal with, except for the case of the stun guy that I didn't kill earlier is back. Okay. Okay, now the stun guy's done. We'll clear the rest of the ads in. There we go. So with the Stormblade, we can go complete the 2 quests we need to go face the optional God boss. And we can move on with the main quest.
You can.
Oh,
You did it.
have you?
Take care.
Well, it.
Bye.
Oh, and both those units already.
Yes.
See you.
Oh, cleared space. Maps, I'm just chuck those to my map tab. Okay. Back out we go into the desert. Go face the boss. An optional boss. The Forbidden Valley with the boss in it. Oh no, not the Forbidden Valley with the boss in it. Wrong room. It's June side way. Okay. capacitors. Okay. Suppress chance. Okay, so it's up to 100% and we've got blast running. So my exponential probably swapping in and remote suppression to dodge. First phase of the boss down. And into the second room for the boss. Clearing most of the ads. When we get back to hammering the boss. The boss will stay on top of the dirt instead of under the dirt. I'll take as much damage as I'm doing because we don't got a lot of Kalash resist on the build right now. Here's the Mustang. Don't recognize that unique offhand.
Rest, my child.
Don't think that works for this build. Very interesting though.
Immortality.
And I'm mana stable, so I don't need that unique mana flask.
I don't feel good about this one.
Which doesn't like when we kill children, apparently.
You must always be killed.
I think this is a skill point. Get back to the main quest plotline. We'll grab the dodge now. Now instead of suppression, we have dodge. Chance to dodge spells, 45%. In theory, when our flask, dodge flask, fading flask is up, this flask is up, we should have 50%. As far as treating it as mitigation, it should be basically the same quality mitigation. But obviously it works half the time. So instead of getting half damage 100% of the time, we're going to be getting no damage 45% of the time. Oh, Terran Shards will hit. That's why it's so tanky. Probably not worth the effort to take it down, just because of how long it's taking to die. Corrupting blood always hurts when you're not immune to it.
I'm not up to that just yet.
This zone, we're looking for the Basilisk. The Basilisk is going to be surrounded by a bunch of statues it's made by petrifying things. And when you kill it, all the statues turn back to normal and start attacking you. There's the Basilisk. As you can see, it's not that threat hitting a monster if you know all the different moves it has. And even if you don't necessarily know what the moves it has, it's not necessarily that threatening. As long as you're built to handle the challenges and rigors that is Action 9. suppose once again there is a optional in this zone that normally I wouldn't worry about accidentally skipping. And to be fair, I'm probably not going to worry about accidentally skipping it anyway, but, oh, here it is anyway. If you kill this guy, and deliver his item back to the people in town, you get some free respec points the first time you do it. On a character. So frequently, unless I just accidentally run into him, I'll just forget about him. Because normally I don't need the respec points for most of the builds. Optimizing this build late in maps will probably require quite a bit of respec points. But right now, just running through Axe, it doesn't. Even now, I don't really need to get the respec points. I can always come back from later. Killing the magic monsters with XP. There is one of the lab trials in here. If this isn't your first, or this is your first character on the server, you probably want to do the lab trial. In my case, again, this is the third character on the server, so I don't need to do lab trial. Though this is the lab trial I'm most likely to accidentally miss. And then have to come back and find it later. I have to say, a bunch of people death with Frenzy of Onslaught maybe doesn't quite have the same level of satisfyingness of cycloning through things. Just had a Twitch viewer go ahead and put in chat, why not use Volcanic Fissure instead of snaking? So, right now, because this is a hollow bomb technique, it's got lots of decks to build right now that I'm building. And I didn't go with like Volcanic Fissure or Earthquake or Ground Slam because I wasn't sure if the build was going to have strength requirements to level those. Whereas both Cyclone and Frenzy of Onslaught are deck skills. Well, I suppose in the case of Cyclone, Cyclone's a hybrid skill. But I was fairly certain going into it that there would be enough strength easily available that if I needed more strength, they keep leveling Cyclone, I could level Cyclone to the max. Must have missed the doorway. Usually it's 2 of the 3 sides has... One has the boss, one has the zone, and yeah, I missed the doorway. Here's the doorway. Here's the boss, an optional boss. And obviously it's a hollow palm technique, which is an unarmed build. You don't have all the choices as far as melee skills go, because you have to pick one that can be used unarmed. And as far as the 2 deck skills, that makes sense to use unarmed. Because it has to also be an unarmed melee skill, right? So you can't just do the unarmed throw potions that people of choice. The 2 deck skills are Cyclone and Frenzy of Onslaught that I looked at that made sense. If you wanted to run it a little bit more strength, I suppose you probably could get away with Maximilian Ground Slam or Earthquake, which would probably have, I wouldn't necessarily have better clear, but have a lot more range. So you don't have to get as close to people, so you're not as reliant on your speed to get up close to people to kill them. But I imagine a slightly stronger, or slightly higher strength build might not necessarily be as easy to get the decks on. High level decks. Which means you'd have less lower base damage. Yeah, I'm not interested in anything here. So at this point I can go back to town to pick another item of... or another skill point. I probably will do as soon as I finish the next zone. I'll probably teleport out of the next zone instead of running out of the next zone. So I'll teleport back to town and then take the waypoint back, because the waypoint's closer to the next zone. After the refinery zone. So the refinery zone is kind of just a big circle. What we want is on the other end of the circle. The fight we're heading to is probably a fight where you do want to make sure that you are lightning resist capped for. If you haven't recapped after Katava by now, you're probably very much regretting it by now, but definitely so for the upcoming fight that I'm about to go into. this is a bit of a boring fight, because I'm basically face tanking slash using actual dodge to avoid his incoming damage. And then just sitting here and Frenzy of Onslaughting him, so it's a bit boring the way I'm fighting it, but this is kind of just showing you the raw strength of the build, and that I'm kind of happily just tanking the enemy, taking the mini boss here. Let's stop tanking for the moment. Let the health flask regenerate. Are going through a little too fast. And he's dead.
Science and alchemy again. Such a bad idea.
Go back to Highgate. Go ahead and quickly pick up
Not
our skill point. And the respec points. And we should deal with that later, but look, we got another skill point. Grab the skill point. Probably need to start moving for more life. So probably come down here and grab these life over here. Another 20% life. And some more dex and attack speed.
And so
That will probably be in the next act when we actually get to those, because well, I'll probably level once in here. Or twice maybe, which case that'll just be the travel nodes mostly. Content gets ya. That guy was hitting as hard as he was because he's stacking basically league content stuff. Whereas I think the base monster wasn't necessarily that dangerous. Dead. I'm gonna find a different dead end. Going down all the dead ends today. that, an enemy dead. Oh, went down the wrong way. We'll just casually punch Ghoul to death here. Or 4 portal scrolls. Yeah. That's why a lot of times before maps it's not really necessarily worth killing everything, because the loot isn't necessarily super great. Unless you're looking for loot, it's not worth stopping to kill things. From that standpoint. Though you do need some XP, so you don't fall too far behind on leveling. Into the rotting core. Which is basically a simulacrum of, well, when you were here in Act 4, just it's all rotten now. And you could go around to all the rooms where you fought the 3 mini-bosses if you wanted to, but the mini-bosses aren't in there, they're in here. You go into the hearts and fight each one of the mini-bosses, and then you fight the version where they're all merged together. Ah, good single target damage. I think if I had more curse resistances, might be doing higher damage here just because we'd be able to ignore the curses a little bit more. Not that this is a threatening fight at all. I think we stood right next to her and just spent the entire time punching. Shades. Whoops. I didn't hit the health potion. Health flask quickly enough, I might have died there. And another one down. On to the third. Because I haven't really improved my dex very much, the damage has been maybe not increasing as fast as I'd like. For me, an hour for an act is not that bad. But it looks like it's going to be close to an hour. Maybe the damage isn't keeping up as well. Well, the damage very early on was very phenomenal. Getting about what you'd expect for any sort of skill at this point. It's probably a sign that I haven't been stacking my decks high enough. Probably because I haven't been finding the items to make it work. Finding ways to resist capped and stack decks at the same time is a little hard. He should shortly be dying. Talk to Sen, we'll open up the way into the act boss. Oh, I'll do a little bit faster than an hour, it looks like. This takes me like 14 minutes to kill the act boss. It'll probably take me a decent amount of time to kill the act boss, but 14 is probably pushing it. Probably don't need that much time. Okay, there's his first phase down. Goes running off, and in comes the scorpions. I suppose that's one disadvantage of running spell dodge instead of spell suppression. Instead of reducing all the damage a small amount, 50%, you frequently make it disappear, but every once in a while you do get hit. Those hits can be hard. Oops. Just realized I could be doing this entire fight with more damage, because my next passive one I'd put in would be a travel node, Dex travel node, which would have been more damage. Whoops. Almost there. There's the boss. With that, I've basically finished Act 9 in 50 minutes, so actually, I was worried it was running a bit slower than normal, but apparently it was running actually a bit faster than normal.
You're questioning well. Ready to go? Just in time as well.
So this is where I'm going to go ahead and put the break in for YouTube. Twitch, I'll be right back and take a quick stretch break between this act and the next act, where I'll also update the POB, save the POB status, so that when I'm doing the after action report at the end of leveling the build, I can go through and show you how it leveled. So if you're watching on YouTube, catch you next time. If you're watching on Twitch, be back right after a short break. Later.